You're listening to the joint sermons on the Push Media Podcast Network.
Lord Vader, this is an unexpected pleasure. We're honored by your presence.
You may dispense with the horseshit, Commander. I'm here to put you back on schedule.
I assure you, Lord Vader, my men are working as fast as they can.
Perhaps I can find new ways to motivate them. Gift cards, maybe?
I tell you, this station will be operational as planned.
The Emperor does not share your optimistic appraisal of the situation, White Man.
But he asks the impossible. I need more men.
Then perhaps you can tell him when he arrives.
The Emperor's coming here?
That is correct, Commander. And he is most displeased with your apparent lack of progress.
So come on, that's Darth Vader with an Indian accent. That was great. That was well done. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's comedy.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm getting a little frightful, though, for the future, or in the present day. Going to start us off with a question. Would Marjorie Taylor Greene believe that's real?
100%. Absolutely.
Right? 100%.
No question. Like,
that's one of the most famous movies in the history of all movies.
She thinks it's a documentary, dog. Like, let's be real.
Dude, that's one of the most famous voices in the history of all voices. One of the most famous characters in the history of all characters. One of the most famous scenes in the history of all scenes.
Oh, clearly. Yeah, absolutely.
And not the special editions, the originals. And
right.
she,
No, I don't recognize the special editions.
I still hold the VHS tape set, the box set of the three originals, because that's how they were God intended.
Exactly. No CGI, no after the fact bullshit. Like,
I understand when George Lucas is like, we always wanted to add this, but we didn't have the technology. Well, then you didn't do it, so it doesn't happen.
And you shouldn't.
Don't rewrite history.
And Han shot first.
You have a classic, literally, that's preserved by the Library of Congress. Does that still exist? The Librarian of Congress?
I don't know. I think they fired her for like DEI or like some stupid shit that like they don't understand what the. Yeah. They're like, they put books in the library. It's like, oh my God, we elected the dumbest people. This country's
they're keeping
dumb.
historical record of things we did that were wrong. Like, well, that happened.
Yeah.
Say it out loud so it doesn't happen again.
Right. And they're like, oh no, we're just going to whitewash this. Oh no, that didn't happen. But no, they weren't slaves. They were working for meager wages.
I can't stand when someone does so. There's ways to phrase things. Obviously, you could rephrase and do whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just how people talk or idioms or whatever, local parts of the English language. They say there's 8 independent English languages in this country. So, okay, I get it. Fine, whatever. But no, you can't rephrase like, the Holocaust or slavery or stuff like that. And stop.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it offends me. Yeah, well, history sucks.
Well, it should be offending because it should be an offensive thing because it was gross.
Yeah.
So how about you're like, this is really tough to watch. No one wants to see the Holocaust videos, but they exist and they show them in museums because they're like, see what happened? Let's not let this happen. And we still let this happen. But let's go back to Dummy. First of all, also in the Smithsonian, her skull is on display in the Smithsonian. You go up to where they have all the different apes to man, and then there's a gap there. They have them on a podium, and then there's a podium that's empty, and they say this is the missing link, and I'm like, no, it's right there up the street. She is weird looking. Okay,
yeah,
I'm just saying that because maybe it helps her. Maybe it helps her. Look at her face. Look at her skull. Get rid of the skin and hair and look at her skull.
Yeah.
In the 1,000 years, does an archaeologist dig her up and go, here was a congresswoman, she was a female? Or do they say, this is Becky, the missing ape? I'm serious.
Yeah, it is. It's there's a lot of Cro-Magnon DNA going on there. Yeah, there has to be. But yeah, I'm not kidding.
If there was
I'm
a
serious.
DNA test, that probably she leans heavy towards that.
Oh, for sure.
Because they always say some like the Scandinavian people have Viking DNA and Neanderthal DNA, a little bit more, like so little, but still slightly more than we have, which makes the difference. Like I think the closest thing we are is to a sponge, they say, via DNA. So there you go. But anyway, she would think that movie's real, that movie's because she's dumb. And, okay. She had an argument with Grok, the AI bot.
Oh, God.
Elon's AI bot.
Yeah.
Which A lot of independent AI auditors that audit for accuracy and all that have said that, ironically, somehow, Grok's bot seems to be the most accurate with like when you ask it to look up facts. It's the most accurate out of the leaders. That's ironic, but okay, let's take that for face value.
Sure.
So there, it is what it is. I don't audit them, and I know a lot of them suck and make things up. But kudos if he did that. Anyway, she asked it about her Christian credentials, and it basically called her out as not being Christian.
Oh, there's a shocker.
You know, here's Grok's answers. Marjorie Taylor Greene identifies as a Christian, expressing faith in Jesus and traditional beliefs, like her 2021 Christmas message. However, her Christian nationalism, which gross. Can we just not say Christian nationalism? It's literally fascism.
Yep.
And support, that's what Christian nationalism is. And support for conspiracy theories. Remember Jewish lasers?
Space lasers. Space lasers.
Then she should understand Star Wars. Okay.
Well.
And her QAnon support that she believed. And that's why 100%. She ran for Congress.
With her full chest.
She actively pushed QAnon conspiracies.
Yeah.
When she was elected the first time. And she was still elected. Now that's Georgia, so that's what I'm saying. Some of them white boys out in the woods just need to go to a strip club, and I heard they got a couple of them in Atlanta because that's weird. Anyway, so they called her out,
which is
basically
hilarious.
saying that blah 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 blah. Which fair enough, I think that's fair. But she argued with it.
Do you think she? No, I never. She doesn't think. Never mind. I was going to say, you think she gets it, but no, she's.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know, did she use the voice chat feature, like actually have an argument, or, like seriously?
I just feel like she was probably there, like that scene in Zoolander where they're like, the files are in the computer and there's Zoolander and the other one are beating the shit out of the MacBook. They're like, it's inside the computer. Like she doesn't understand how anything works.
I've never seen that movie, but that actually sounds funny.
It is actually quite a good flick.
But the thing is, for someone to say that.
Yeah.
Like I knew an elderly lady once.
That sits on committees.
I would come home with my backpack that had a laptop in it, right? I don't understand. This old lady always sitting out and talking about, I'm talking like almost 90. I don't understand. Where do you keep your files? Like in her mind, the men had like a briefcase and the files from her day. And where are your files?
Yeah, sure.
No, they're computer files.
Right.
She cannot. How do you get files in the computer? Like it always was old there, but that was, because she was super old.
Yeah. And not a sitting member of Congress that's arguing with an AI bot. Like,
and not Joseph Hard R. Biden.
God,
turns out he really had dementia and he was going to need a wheelchair and he couldn't sign things or recognize people that he knew for decades, and they all covered it up, and now they're all admitting it with their face and names in public.
Yeah. Well, they are, a cowardly press corps. Nobody has the balls to say anything until that person's gone. And then it's all like, oh, we knew. It's like, then why didn't you say something?
Some people need to call out Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, head of Doge, or not head of Doge.
Whatever.
I can't even keep track anymore.
I love how these highly trained, smart doctors are just giggling at the thought of him being in charge of anything and, doing Doge.
Yeah. Well,
they're just like, let me just giggle like a silly kid real quick because what? Like this is a smart doctor, and he's like, pardon me, why giggle like I'm 12? Off the name of it. This is Dr. Mike's podcast.
Is endorsing RFK Jr. to some degree his notions of asking questions, his medical theories, etc., especially on his platform X. I asked Grok, which is the AI of X, what percentage of health claims that RFK Jr. makes are factually inaccurate? And it said greater than 50%. Why isn't someone who's an industry leader like Elon Musk asking his own AI system about the factual accuracy of the person deciding the nation's healthcare?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a good question, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy that people were, all on RFK Jr.'s nuts like that. It's like the dude was a heroin addict for 14 years and a worm ate part of his brain. That's like not even a joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we're taking this guy to be like, yeah, I want to listen to him. Like,
I just like the fact he's not a doctor
at all. Like, not even close.
even if he's not a doctor, there's no medical experience anywhere at all, anywhere around this guy.
None at all. Like, I mean, apparently he knows how to use a needle, but that's about it.
I think I've had more medical training than him because I once looked up, like, I don't feel good. Here's my symptoms. What kind of medicine can I have?
No, you just got to go swimming in sewage-infested water.
Dude, this guy's weird. He's nuts.
Yeah. Did you see that? He was swimming in that lake with his like grandkids or some shit like that, and it's like one of the most polluted rivers in the U.S. And he's just like frolicking around in it with his shirt off, and it's just like, oh,
does he
that
think
worm,
like it's no big deal?
Oh yeah, that worm's gonna have a buddy in like 2 days.
That's gross. Because I mean, all joking aside, dirty water kill you.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
And you put your grandkids in there? No, it wouldn't be me. Absolutely not. No, it wouldn't be me.
But hey, now we have him as the head of
Human Health and
Services.
Diarrhea, and they just won't admit it.
Yeah,
people are idiots.
We got the dumbest Kennedys, man.
Well, what? Well, you know what though? Those Kennedys, they're a bunch of frauds. All of them.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. All going back to Joe Kennedy. The guy was in the mob. He's a gangster.
Well, no argument here.
He was a criminal.
Yeah. I mean, that whole family is just absolutely bananas.
His idea was to prop up his sons in order. The oldest son, who was going to go first, got killed in the war. And then he propped up the next one. And then he propped up the next one. And apparently someone along the lines like, we don't do the Kennedy thing. You know what I mean? And they got rid of them. But they're gangsters. They all cheat. They have sex with any hole that moves. Look, I like women as well. I heard a rumor that you too like women half the time. But I don't walk around and like, oh, there's a hole. And like it seems so like you're a predator, right? They're like they're predators, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody that goes for that kind of like power and shit has all kinds of issues that they have to deal with, and like being a womanizer is probably pretty high up there for most of their behavior.
And when did they become the standard bearer for good looks?
I don't know.
JFK didn't look. He wasn't a handsome man. I mean, he wasn't like super hideous or something. I mean, he's not no Marjorie Taylor Greene, but he wasn't like, wow, that was a really handsome president.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand this. And he was a drug addict who hid his addiction while he's taking opioids as the president, sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's all acknowledged now. What's we act like? It's so stupid. And also, Jackie O was not pretty. I'm sorry, on the record, gross.
Yeah, I just, the whole propping up of like the quote unquote Camelot and that whole thing, I was like,
that wasn't a thing, right?
No, I know, but like the way that like, some boomers tend to like canonize that entire presidency, it's just like,
that only became a thing when she gave an interview after his death. And she talked about the play or whatever, Camelot, that he liked. He liked to listen to the recording of it. That's how bad the press is. So they romanticize the guy because he got shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's sort of a thing too. So
it's way people do that with rappers. Oh, he had the hardest bars ever. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. That doesn't mean he sucked neither, but it's like, you stop acting like he's Rakim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't stand that. Oh, that dude was hard like Harris. No, he wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people do that with Tupac. I'm like, I'm sorry. His bars are mostly recycled at one point. Like, I can't, like, I don't even have that conversation with people. Because if they say that, I'm like, you were born in like 2001. Like, we're not talking about that. I don't care. I was there.
Me Against the World is his magnum opus. That is perfection.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Because that is the most personal album. It was in prison writing it. So it's what it is. But romanticizing people that die. Imagine what they say about Trump now versus when he dies.
Oh God, it's going to be, they're going to do the same shit that they did to George Bush Jr. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, well, actually he wasn't that bad. And it's like, yeah, no, he was exactly what they said he was. And you guys are just dumb.
But you hate every president and you think every president's a war criminal. So
I mean, yeah.
It's not true. Grow up. It isn't. Grow up. And I'll go on the record again. If you ran for president and were elected president, you would
I would be a war criminal too.
You would start making bad decisions because they're awful that you have to make them. Because that's the role of a president, whatever. Grow up.
No.
But, excuse me.
No.
Excuse me.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Excuse me. Check your white privilege.
Wait, turns out I'm still white.
So, the big, beautiful bill.
No.
Which
God.
we don't, can we not? Can we not?
What, I mean, it's...
I would just like it to be called HR 6523.
Yeah. Who does that? God, it's
big, beautiful bill.
It's like a fucking 5-year-old.
Yeah. But anyway, it passed, and the Speaker of the House, third in line, or does that count as second in line? Whatever. It's second line because the Vice President would be the first in line. Okay, whatever. I'd like to thank the great leadership of our President, Donald John Trump, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, just to the root on that one.
Ugh. Like he got his hairs in your nose.
Yeah.
What's going on? This is disgusting. We talk like that while he's alive, which is weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time. Always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all. President, what do you want to...
I don't like it.
I mean, first of all, I thought he said he was going to finish this war day one. What happened, bud? We're 103 days in. What's going on? Or 114, whatever.
And I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other...
Where did that come from?
He is just so dumb.
He got off Air Force One. He walked over to the group of, is that a gaggle of reporters? Is that what this is? A gag?
No, I don't know.
Gag. Oh, get it? Ba-boom, boom, tiss. So he walks over to these reporters and starts speaking to them and then calls them, "You're fake news for asking me a question, follow-up question."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the deflect type of shit. Like, I mean, it's so pathetic.
Yeah, but most politicians are better at it.
At
least they're looking and playing a part a little bit. They're more, "You're fake news."
I mean, I think the bar's been lowered so much that like he just walked up and was like, "Fuck you, fatty." They'd be like, "Man, is he great at his job?" And they would just be like, "Ha ha ha, you mean tweets or whatever."
Weird, right?
It's stupid.
It's weird. I don't understand it. I don't like it. But what we're saying about him when he's dead, all these things on the record.
When you say that Walmart should eat the cost of the tariffs, is that an acknowledgement that it is U.S. companies that bear the brunt of tariffs, not foreign countries?
Sometimes the country will eat it, sometimes Walmart will eat it, and sometimes there'll be something to pay, something extra. I've always been a fan, and I've always...
So you're raising the cost of things like he said, right?
Yeah. Oh, did he breathe? He lies like he breathes. Like everybody knew what a tariff was going to do.
Yeah, we all know what tariffs are. For the record, too, all the presidents that people consider as like the greatest presidents, Washington, Reagan, stuff like that, have all spoken absolutely against tariffs. They're on the record of going, those are stupid.
Well, but that's the thing, though. He just does dumb shit. And then, when people are like, yeah, that's not how that works, he calls them fake news or whatever. And then when it does happen, and then when it does happen, he's just like, well, sometimes, and it's just like this word salad. And nobody ever calls him out on that bullshit. They're just like, yeah, well,
what about an AI president? Might as well.
I mean, shit, at this point, what's...
We're going to end up with the AI god.
Prompts. Like, seriously, dude, you're saying the only thing standing between me and $1 billion is some random text?
Honestly, the biggest red flag is when the guy believes in the prompt theory. Like, really? We came from prompts? Wake up, man.
You want to convince me that this perfect creation behind me is the result of ones and zeros? A binary code and nothing more? It makes no sense.
Imagine you're in the middle of a nice date with a handsome man and then he brings up the prompt theory. Yuck. We just can't have nice things.
We're not prompts! We're not prompts!
Where is the prompt writer to save you from me? Where is he? You still believe we're made of prompts?
That's coming soon,
Well, I mean, this whole like AI video is like, this literally the Matrix. Like that's literally what they were saying.
It is the Matrix.
It is the Matrix. It's like, you realize that was a movie that was warning about how dangerous this shit could be. And they're like, check it out, guys. We did the thing.
But what's funny is there was a lot of people after the movie who all of a sudden said, no, that's real. It's like, oh, boy. And that's how we got here 20 years later.
Yeah.
But but also that video looks good, right? Like it looks like a people.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary how like.
So why can't we have a AI president?
Well, I mean, apparently they're going to have AI nanny bots, which is the fuck we are. Yeah. Yeah. It said AI, nanny robots will be in the future. And I was like, no.
Like Rosie?
Oh, God. I mean, that would be cool, but that would be cool.
Be super cool.
These are not them. They're those faceless Tesla robots that it's just like, great.
No, I'm more worried about my, AI infested army gun-toting machine gun dogs.
Oh yeah. Boston Dynamics. There's nothing wrong with that. You're nothing to see here, kids.
You know what makes that even worse? Is when they put a little speaker on it and they're like, citizen. I don't want to be called citizen.
Yeah, no.
That's to me, I'm like, that is so dystopian. We would normally be talking about music right now, but I can't find a rapper who's willing to put out, good music.
Yeah. It's dry summer, man. We need something for sure.
Pause. So Kanye West and his wife, whatever, they're in rehab now because, I guess they were addicted to Nazism or something.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, I gotta kick this Mein Kampf habit I got. Oh, I don't want to hear it.
Like, I'm sick and tired of celebrities going, I gotta go to rehab because, I was a prick and I, was aggressive with women. Oh, it's because of my pains. No, you're a pig.
Yeah. Well, and he's a piece of shit. So yeah, I mean, it's like, look, you can't just be like, oh, I said all this racist shit, so I'm gonna go to rehab now, and you're gonna forgive me. No, that's not how that works. Like,
tell you, part of me still thinks this guy's so stupid and retarded that he thinks there was nothing wrong with it. Now he doesn't understand what's wrong with it, so he's got to go to rehab.
I mean,
I'm serious. There's a part of me that thinks he doesn't realize you're not being shocked. There's shock value with, artists do that. That's what art is shocking sometimes, right? And art is offensive. Yeah. But I think almost every person on the planet's like, yeah, but we don't, like make Hitler sound good.
Yeah. I mean, it is beyond shock value with him. You know what I mean? This isn't the first time. This is like the 15th
No, I know, but I'm saying I
crashed out.
I still think there's a small part of me that still think this guy is so messed up. Like, and I mean like crazy, like literally brain damage or something, that he doesn't know what he's doing. When I was in high school, there was a kid there who had Down syndrome, right? Real heavy Down syndrome. And he would always, talk to black people like, what's up, my ends? He meant it completely calm and peaceful and friendly because that's what he heard and that's what the music said. And he got a pass. No one ever bothered. They just dapped him up. He was welcomed because he was no harm.
Right.
Could that be Kanye West without the Down syndrome? I don't understand.
No, I mean, it's at some point in time, you have to take responsibility. Like if you know you're bipolar, if you know you have mental illness and it's negatively impacting your behavior, then go see a doctor, get on meds, do something to make yourself better.
He has a father that's still alive, because I'd be damned if I allowed my kid. I'd be like, no. You know what I mean? If I knew my son was a public figure and legitimately had, let's say he had all these things that Kanye says he has, bipolar and all that stuff, he legitimately had it, and then I saw him on there doing a Nazi, I'll be, whoa. There I am, showing up. Boom, he's sick. Let's go. Right?
Yeah, but or you know what? I mean, sometimes there's just kids that you have kids and they just go really hard right, and there's nothing you can do or nothing you can say to them to reach out because they're just so deep in that bullshit that it's like, you can only do so much until you're like, well, you're an adult.
Legit mental illness that is, this person was born and whatever is wrong with their brain, it is wrong, and that's not a thing you can fix. They should probably be, institutionalized or something, but they're crazy. Like Charles Manson.
Well, obviously,
do you think his parents raised him to do that? No.
No, he was a sociopath. You know what I mean?
What I'm saying. So technically he is sick.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. So there's really no fixing that. That's that level of crazy. So
no,
keep him in jail.
But I mean, here the thing with Kanye is he's such a narcissist that like,
wait a second. Donald Trump is a narcissist.
Crazy. Yeah, super weird. That's
never elect an egomaniac. I get that they all have egos, but my goodness.
Yeah, I mean it's
going
it's
around
ridiculous.
making records. How Hitler, like Dude, I was shocked. I haven't heard people screaming Heil Hitler since I last had dinner at your house. It's insane to have to listen to this. And then he gets mad because like Spotify and Apple Music are like, yeah, we're not streaming it. And they kicked it off immediately.
Not good.
Well, yeah, no, what?
I mean, like when people were, when Joe Rogan was talking about how, it's because Jews control the media. It's like, nah, dude, he made a Nazi anthem. Like, you want that shit? Like, go.
Imagine though, your argument is, hey, we took off the Heil Hitler song by Kanye West from our music streaming service because we don't condone that. All the stuff that we have NWA on our streaming service, but and Two Live Crew, but we don't condone that. Oh, it's Jews run the world. Like that's your response to affirm what the music's about?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all fascists, and they're just like, oh, we could be Nazis in public again. Like, did you see that video of that guy? It's like some punk DIY fest in Vegas or whatever, and he showed up with an SS shirt on, and they beat the living dog shit out of this dude. And then, of course,
he was so cool, huh?
And some bleeding heart liberal was like, oh, is that what we're doing? Are we punching Nazis? Yes, that's what the fuck we're doing. Like, that dude got so comfortable.
If we punch Nazis, which I'm not against, just make sure the person's a Nazi. Not someone you just you disagree with.
Oh no!
Yeah, because there is a difference. There is a huge difference.
This guy had a shirt with the SS.
No, I know, but I'm saying in general, when people get mad, they go Nazi. Like, is that person a Nazi, or did you just?
No, there was no question here. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying you just punch anybody you disagree with, but when somebody shows up with lightning bolts on there,
CEOs.
I mean, listen, it's looking better and better for this one. This is disgusting. This is the one that I was like, did you read this article when I sent it to you?
No, I thought I'd let you go ahead and foam at the mouth as a communist.
No, well, hey, you're gonna love this one.
Hold on. And here comes the communism.
Yeah, well, it's more like rationale. So, the CEO that got smoked for United Healthcare, allegedly by Luigi. So after he got shot, they're like, okay, we got to stop using this AI bot to just deny claims. So they stopped denying as many claims as they did.
Which is also foul. Which is just foul in general.
They were denying like 90% of the claims. Wait for this one. So now that they started doing this, a group of investors headed by BlackRock, that same BlackRock, are suing them for loss of profit because they started okaying people's procedures. Let that one marinate. They're suing a company for not killing more people and losing money for their investors. That is why that shit is a death cult. And
so here's the problem. Here's the problem. That speaks more to the problem with our healthcare system than anything. So United Healthcare, I'm going to guess, is a publicly traded because they have shareholders.
Oh company. Yeah, no, they're getting crushed on it.
If you are a publicly traded company, you are legally obligated to do whatever you can to make a profit for your shareholders.
Yeah, but
in fact, if you're seen not trying to make a profit, you can be charged. So
no, I get that, but that's
they
what I'm saying.
They are legally obligated to make a profit, however way that is legally, and the legal ways to decline claims. So they were doing what they're supposed to, the way the system's set up, and that should be the story for profit medicine.
Well, it's just, it's always profit over people, and this is so glaring and so blatant, and here comes the communism shit. But like when you look at that, and it's just like we're suing you because you're not killing enough people. Dear God, they just gave away the game, and they don't even care about it. Like that's
weird, right?
It's beyond weird, and it's infuriating to read that, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, money is that important to you that you're like, hey, we're going to need you to go back to killing grandmas because I got to buy my 14th yacht.
Yeah, no, it's weird. So where do we go from here? AI is not going anywhere.
No.
We're going to have AI nannies and machine gun dogs. We're going to have, we have AI videos. So an AI movie or AI TV show and AI commercials are all coming. AI music is coming. AI books are here. AI art is here. So that's done and over with. Where do we go from here?
I have no idea. Everything is just...
I'll tell you where we go.
Dumbest timeline ever.
We go to Endor and we hang out with Indian Darth Vader.